Hey everybody!
Yeah.
We're here. Welcome. We're going to be talking about how to reinvent a vision that dies. So give us some hearts if you've had visions, if you're a dreamer, if you've had any that may have died or shifted. We've got, how do you like, just M, Shannon Hernandez, right?
Yeah, Shannon.
And M's for Mary, right?
Yeah, and I should probably tell that little story.
Yeah, I'm so curious. So my guest, my name, let me flip it. Let me go to me. Hey everybody, it's Susan Vernicek here, founder of IdentityMagazine.net. I am all about self-acceptance, appreciation, and personal achievement, both personally and professionally. And over the next year, I am connecting with experts here on Periscope, on Blab, raw, real, practical discussions and tips to provide you extra value leading up to our 10-year celebration, which is on a cruise, and I'll get to that later. But again, you just need to know that I'm Susan Vernicek, and I run a national online magazine for women, empowering women, and my guest speaker is M. Shannon Hernandez, the writing whisperer, who is going to share her secrets and tips and successes on how she reinvented herself and her vision. She was once a teacher. Now she is her own boss. She loves to travel. She is an amazing editor, writer. She's an author. She's freaking kick-ass. And it takes balls to, well, let's not say balls because we don't have balls. It takes some...
Wait. I say we women have balls. They're called ovaries.
Oh yeah, we got major ovaries here. For her to leave a teaching career to what, 15 years?
Yeah.
Right? And starting your own business. That is awesome. So we welcome you. Everybody join in. Tell us where you're broadcasting from. Give us hearts if you've got visions. We want to hear them. We've got like
So why we have people chime in, I think it's important that everyone knows that, yes, my name everywhere is M. Shannon Hernandez, but you can call me Shannon. That was a branding reason. There's a man that runs a very popular YouTube channel called Shan Man, and his name is Shannon Hernandez. And I needed to differentiate myself for my vision, my big visions for taking on the world. So I put the M in front of my name, which my name is Mary, but I was never called Mary. It was just like a placeholder name, I guess. I was always called by Shannon.
That's awesome. I feel like I did come across that man. He might be on Periscope.
He is. He's dominating places right now, but he and I compete for SEO, and we have friendly conversations on Twitter about it.
Oh my God. Well, you guys should play together because team up and work together. That might work out in your favor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody who's on, first, can you hear us? Is the sound okay? Can you hear us? Let us know if you can hear us. And if you can see Shannon, this will be recorded. No. You can't see her? Yes, you can see her and the sound is okay?
Yay.
Yay. And now I'm asking you to invite everybody you know that has a vision, had a vision, or is looking to have a vision, finding a vision, or maybe reinventing themselves, a vision, a dream, that could benefit from this real discussion. So go ahead and invite your friends and share with us your visions. I haven't seen any yet. Anybody?
Maybe they need help with the word vision. Sometimes it's a very confusing word. So what's a current project, dream, or goal that you're working on, or something you've been dreaming about that you want to do, and maybe you just haven't set aside the space or the time to develop it yet? That's what we're talking about here. So if you run a business, what's your vision for the business? If you have a family, what's your vision for your family? If you love to travel, where are you going to be going next? Do you want to write a book? These are all visions. So we want to hear some of your ideas.
Do you want to take a vacation? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to adopt? Do you want to run a marathon? Do you want to start working out? These are all visions. So let's hear them. Anybody? All right, well, they're coming on, inviting your friends. Shannon, let's talk about your initial vision. Let's talk about your vision that got you started in life and the transition.
Sure. So really from a very young age, I had a vision to be a teacher. And I would line my stuffed animals and my sister up in my room and give them worksheets and, do all the teacher stuff with the chalkboard and the easel. And I thought this was my vision for life, to be honest. I really, really just wanted to be a teacher and inspire and impact youth. And after 15 years of teaching public school, mainly in middle school, I found that this vision had sort of waned, and died might be a little strong for this particular one, but I knew that I needed to do something different because I wasn't happy anymore. And so I woke up one day and decided, well, I'm not going to live my life not being happy. Like, that's not in my moral set of things I'm going to do.
Right.
So I sat down and I actually wrote out maybe what I could make out of a business, which becomes what you know today as the Writing Whisperer. And it was hard. It was a lot of work. It was scary. It was scary, right? I was leaving a very safe career. I was a tenured teacher. I was making $70,000 a year. I was working 200 days a year, right? We don't even have to work the entire time. And I had benefits and insurance, but none of that mattered when I really listened to my heart and my soul. And I knew that I wasn't happy doing that anymore. And so I spoke it over with my husband, and he said, well, you've never run a business. What the heck are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to find a business coach. I'm going to figure it out. And that's exactly what I did. And that was in February of 2013. My business is only 2.5 years old, and it is thriving and it's exciting. And I wake up excited every day, and I have clients all over the world, and I'm traveling and I'm writing. And it's things that I never even thought could probably happen because I didn't worry about all the little details. I just worried about what did I need to do next? What did I need to do next? What did I need to do next?
Okay, so let's take a quick break and reintroduce those of you who are on. Please go ahead and click the little Perry button down below and share this broadcast as we are talking. Hey, Coach Jenny. Welcome.
Coach Jenny.
Thanks for joining. We just got through. Shannon just shared her initial vision as a teacher in the transition. And now we are asking everybody who's on to just once again invite those that they know that would love to talk about visions and dreams, goals, things that they want to do. And if they've ever had a dying vision and needed to shift directions, this is for them, as we're going to get into some tips. Oh, thanks for sharing, Jenny. We really appreciate it. Share with us, where are you guys broadcasting from? I know, Coach Jenny, you're in California, right? Or Los Angeles?
Are there any fellow New Yorkers?
Any New Yorkers? Yeah, Brooklyn. Shannon's in Brooklyn. I'm in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. Oh, God, Coach Jenny is poolside. Really? Jealous.
Nice.
How do you do it? Every time I go outside to work, I focus on seeing the screen. Even though I'm wearing sunglasses, I'm like, this isn't working for me. I don't have any shade around here. Okay, so again, we're talking vision. Shannon, so let's say you had this amazing vision. I have visions day in and day out. And I think a lot of people, not just entrepreneurs and business owners, have visions. I write a book, wanted to have a vision. I got married. I had kids. I want to travel. I wanted a home to raise my kids. These are all things that I envision every day. But sometimes our visions die or change or shift or end up not feeling so right. So what are some signs that you felt when your vision was coming to an end? What were some signs that you felt within your heart and your soul?
Yeah, I think the biggest sign, and that's a really good question, Susan. First of all, we have to be able to not be a robot to understand what we feel, right? And so many of us are just going through the motions. We're trying to make it to work, get the food on the table for the family, but you really have to have some downtime to process and to understand what your heart and your mind are trying to tell you. So the first thing for me was just I wasn't excited anymore to get up and go to work. And that was scary for me because so much of my brand now is teaching, and I love teaching. I do all kinds of teaching on all different platforms, but I knew that if I wasn't excited to get up and go to work, that there was something wrong. I also felt the seeds of bitterness creeping in, and you get bitter because you're not doing things you love and you're doing things that are causing you resistance, or you get bitter because you're going through the motions and you haven't stopped to really think about it. And I wanted to be the teacher who left before I got bitter, because those students don't deserve bitter teacher, right? They deserve a teacher who wants to be there and who loves what she's doing. And so part of my vision, I think, was bigger than myself, that my students deserved a teacher who was 100% present and committed. And I think when I took the focus off of myself and doing what was right for those 90 students that I had to teach every day, I really made that last year like a powerhouse year, because they deserved a great teacher for that 1 year of English reading and writing, right? Like they can never get that 8th grade year back. So I recommitted to the vision for the year, but on the side, I started growing my new vision, which was the Writing Whisperer.
Wow. I think that's fantastic. And everybody who's just joining, I'm Susan Vernicek, founder of Identity Magazine. We empower women. We're all about self-acceptance, appreciation, and personal achievement. Today, we're talking about vision and visions that may have died or are dying, and signs that we can take note of if our vision's dying. So Shannon just shared her vision and is sharing the signs that she experienced. And first of all, I'd just like to say I so commend you for stepping up and doing that, because I hear a lot of teachers and see on social media about teachers not being happy, and I often think about, okay, well, if they're so miserable, how are those students doing in class? Because that projects on them, whether they believe it or not. It really does. You really need to be passionate about what you're doing, anything in life. If that passion's not there, those viewers, those students, the readers, they're not going to feel that. They're not going to see that. And especially teachers. I mean, you are growing and evolving these students' identities, and they need to know that you're there with them. So congratulations for doing that, owning that, and then obviously doing what you love to do and a new vision. So let's just talk about, once you see some initial signs of when your vision's dying, what are some initial steps? So what were some initial first steps that you took to start shifting, start transitioning into, a passion of yours, the desire, which ultimately is now the Writing Whisperer? Sure. Because I think that's very important. We can share all of our stories, but I love when there's actually small steps, small takeaways. So whoever's on now or whoever's watching the recording later, they can implement these.
Sure. So I will just say this part always gets me choked up. So, and that's okay. Like, I'm completely fine being vulnerable, and that's what we're about here, right? Being
Absolutely.
real. So, and I've said this over and over, the first thing I had to learn to do was to dream again. And that was really hard because all I wanted was to be a teacher, and it just wasn't serving me anymore. The system screwed up. You can't teach how you're supposed to teach for the kids. And so I think the first step is to allow yourself to envision possibilities. And I don't think we do that enough. We're so busy with work and families and day-to-day life that I really just took a week or two and said, what if I could work and travel around the world? What would that look like? And I had no idea. I had never been a business owner. There were no business owners in my family. Everyone thought I was crazy. They thought I was nuts, so I had gone bonkers. But so I sat around, and you know what? I cut magazine pictures, actually.
I love this, like vision boards.
Yeah, and I didn't even know really what a vision board was at that time, but I cut pictures and I pasted them in a journal, and I said, what if I could still teach, but I didn't have to go into a public school? All right, what would that look like? Okay, what if I could travel around the world and make money? I don't know how to do that, but let's put it as an option. I did not cross out any vision or dream that I had. And I didn't say, no, you can't do that. I just added it. I became completely unattached to the idea of how will I do it. And I just collected like things that I wanted to do. And I think that's really the first step, because if you're in a rut, or you're, as I call it, a robot, or you're just going through the motions, and we all have these days, it's a part of life. You haven't given yourself the space and the creativity and the time to dream again. And that's the very first thing, I think, is to imagine your perfect life, and then find pictures that of what that looks like, and allow yourself to go into that picture, and allow yourself to actually be that person in that picture, or be on that beach in that little grass hut with your computer, giving a class from Bora Bora, or whatever it is.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that is so great. And that's so, people underestimate, we're going to go to the camera right here. I wish we can get both of us, but we just can't. I need a new setup. Sorry, guys. So people underestimate the power of vision boards. And this is why one of the workshops I host, and I tie it into my signature, but I've been traveling around the world with Wounded Warrior and hosting workshops for the caretakers. And they are amazed after they do a vision board, because we don't get to sit and play and cut out pictures and images that speak to us, that give us energy, give us happiness and joy and excitement. And when you focus on that and you cut that out with your very own hands and scissors, and you take the time to put that in place on a piece of journal or on a piece of paper or a vision board, the law of attraction is in action, and you are setting motion, you're setting action, you're setting intention, and it's so amazing what can happen. And that actually feeds into what I want to share with my vision. Over 5 years ago, I had said, I want to speak on a cruise. I've never been on a cruise. That was it. I said it one time. It's like, that would be really cool to speak on a cruise. Well, I'm almost 10 years. There's a vision right there. That was just, a vision doesn't have to be, you could just state it, right? And then you can let it go and see what happens. So I had, mentioned about the cruise. 10 years later, now I've planned a cruise. I've planned a conference, a celebration, a 10-year celebration, a conference for women, and a cruise to Bermuda. So right now we are doing fantastic. We are having a whole year of discussing my 10-year timeline, all that I have embraced and have faced: crossroads, conflict, fear, holy shit, we're launching it. So many emotions over 10 years. So I hope that the cruise really does fill up. We have 100 seats, but that's how visions start, is talking about them, being real, being authentic, writing them down, sharing them with trusted friends or colleagues or whoever that may be, a husband, a sister, a mom, and start the conversation, start the thought process, start getting it out there. And that's how visions blossom, and that's how they change, they shift, they grow. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, and I want to say, giving voice to your vision is probably a blog post I should write for Identity Mag, because if you have visions and you hold them all in your mind and in your heart, you're not giving voice to them. But if you even have one person you trust that you can say, and for me, that was my husband. And, I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not happy, and I need to find a way out. And that was all I needed. I didn't have any answers, but he held that for me. He held that vision for me. And we would check in at dinner, or it was crazy that I was finishing grad school. I was closing one business. I was opening another business. I was teaching full time. I mean, I was tapped. I was tapped emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually. But I was committed to building this brand so that I could have a life I loved, and I could help people get to lives that they love too, whatever that meant for them, through words and creating compelling copy. But Susan, I wanted to ask you a question, and
Sure.
It might just
I'm going to put it on me.
yeah, it might have slipped my mind, so give me just a second.
Those of you still on, we so appreciate you being here. I just want to also say thank you to a big new friend of mine. Oh, thanks for the hearts. Mindful meal parties. Savor You. Google them. I'm going to show you their website. They are our sponsors for Periscopes for these discussions over the next 10 months. Mindful meal parties. I mean, check her out. She's awesome, the website. But I'm going to show you, actually, did you think of the question?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so I'll show you guys her website after, but so grateful and so excited to have connect with Maureen, founder of Savor You, Mindful Meal Party. She does virtual parties. She cooks online. I mean, she's awesome. So I'm going to show you the site, but I'm so grateful for her sponsoring the next 10 months of our conversations, which I think will be moving to Blab and Periscope for the setup. Okay, so go ahead, shoot.
So my question is, you said 5 years ago you had a vision of speaking on the cruise ship. So you didn't know if that was going to be you or your company, right? So you just had the vision. But I would love for you to talk a little bit about, and then maybe I can comment at the end. Sometimes we put deadlines on our visions that I think aren't necessarily realistic. Like, we live in a society where we have to have a deadline, and if we don't meet it by then we didn't meet it. And I think that's a really important thing to talk about in terms of realizing your visions. And how do you feel about deadlines on visions and working towards them? And if you thought it would take 2 and it takes 5, like, are you okay with that?
Yes. Okay. So that's a great question, because that's a great question. So I have so many visions day in and day out. And a lot of people do also call them shiny objects. That, you know, you're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that, which is great. So I am a huge fan of brain dumping, which that term I've learned from, I want to say, my business coach at the time, Jennifer Tuma Young, who I think she might have found from Savor the Success, a networking community that I belong to. But brain dumping, which I freaking love, because that's how my brain works. Like, I'm not always accurate or on target or thorough or precise, but I just get shit out of my mouth and just brain dump it, put it on paper. So when it comes to visions, I do the same thing. I get everything out as it comes to me, record it, write it down, and then obviously you have to prioritize. You have to prioritize and see what's speaking to me now, what is probably closer to being able to achieve, what's more attainable at this moment, and then write down the pros and cons for each. And I do believe in deadlines for a lot of things. I work so much better under pressure. I get so much shit done when I don't have that much time. When I have time in my hands, forget it. You'll catch me sitting on a couch eating cookies and drinking milk. I mean, that's why I don't do it, because that's downhill from there. So I believe that certain visions require deadlines and certain visions don't. So when I had made the comment or had the vision about speaking on a cruise, that was like, oh, that would be so fun, put it on the back burner kind of thing, you know. But then here 10 years later, 5 years later, I actually do have an intense vision of this cruise happening, and it's real. I have people who are there ready to speak on the cruise, and we have 5 speakers, and I have a travel agent that I happen to just connect with, who plans them, and everything happened. So then I had to give myself a deadline. I was like, okay, now we need deadlines. You know, what I need at least 10 months for this, to market, to promote, to get people comfortable. So, you know, there's an example of a deadline. Articles, visions for writing, you need deadlines. Otherwise I won't get them done. So, you know, I think deadlines are key. And especially if you really want to make stuff happen and get things done, prioritize your visions, set deadlines, long-term, short-term, and give yourself a break. Don't be too hard, because sometimes we don't meet the deadline. But a deadline at least gives you the focal point, a vision of when it could possibly be launching or when it could possibly happen. You know, and then sometimes you're going to hit some obstacles and struggles along the way, but just be in the moment and be kind to yourself and just give it your all every day. And, things will always work out the way they're supposed to be, and just know that. So that's my take. Do you have any other additional?
Yeah, I also want to talk about this idea of being tenacious or having tenacity with your vision, because, and I want to share this, and I didn't ask Susan, but hopefully she'll be all right with it.
That's fine.
When I found out Susan was doing Identity Live Cruise, I had also had a vision of speaking on a cruise ship. Now, Susan didn't know this. And,
oh, my God.
And I reached out to her when I saw the notices coming out, and I asked her, have you found out the speaker? I said, I'd like to apply to be a speaker. And she said, oh, I think we're set on speakers. And I don't know if you remember, Susan, but I said, I want to apply to be a speaker. And I didn't take her answer of, I think we have all of our speakers, because I knew that maybe if I could get the application, I could, put like a really compelling topic, which is reinventing your life. And I'm really passionate about that. And so I actually thought that, she was being nice, and she sent me over the application, and that, they had already had the speakers, but she was going to go through the motions.
I'm
and
always nice.
Out of the blue, what did I find out? That there was an email in my inbox about a week later that the panel or the board had chosen me to be a speaker on the cruise ship. And I think this talks to the idea of, if you have a vision or a dream, don't let a no. Now, Susan didn't tell me no, but I could have perceived it as a no. Mm-hmm. Don't let people dictate what it is you're going to do with that dream. And so instead of saying, oh, she probably has all her speakers, instead I said, no, I want the application.
Yeah, I know. I loved it. And I was so excited that she did do it, because I didn't know what was going to come. I didn't know what she was thinking, and I didn't have my speakers, and I had a meeting with my team. I have friends and stuff that have been with me since the beginning of the magazine, and have attended my first 2 years, my first 2 conferences. So they knew what the feel was for the conference, and how I love it needs to be interactive and engaging, and it needs to apply to both somebody who doesn't own a business and somebody who does own a business, because business owners need to do the groundwork. We need to do our groundwork to excel and excel in our businesses. So when her application came in and it was reinventing your vision, I was like, holy shit, this is so perfect. So when I brought it to the board, I was like, listen, there's 2, actually, Shannon, I'll be honest with you, it was between you and one other person. And so they reviewed the applications, and it came down to yours applies to everybody. And it speaks to our identity. And the other one was a little bit more too business heavy, and we already had that kind of spot filled. So yeah, I mean, it worked out. I'm so super excited that we both had visions for cruises, and here it is going to happen. So I'm excited. So Coach Jenny, you got anything on vision you want to post? Oh, you got phone calls? Phone calls interrupt scopes. Okay, so listen, this is recorded, so we're going to share. For those of you on, please share this broadcast. We are building our Periscopes, although we're going to be on Blab too. It's got to happen. I've been watching it, and it's so much better with interviews. But we're going to have this up on identitylive.net website, which is all about the conference. This conference is, yes, Blab. I know you're a fan. We need to have a conversation, because I need to understand it before I dive in. But ladies, grab your family, grab your husband, grab your girlfriends, grab your mom, grab your daughter, and grab a ticket to Identity Live, because we are cruising to Bermuda, and this is a celebration for me, for you, for the speakers. This is a celebration to think about, reconnect with, and celebrate you. Self-acceptance, appreciation, personal achievement. We very rarely, I'm not going to say never, we very rarely take the time to celebrate and pat ourselves on the back. And we kick ass day in and day out. So this is a time where we get to take a week together, one day for a conference, go to Bermuda, have fun on Royal Caribbean, Anthem of the Seas, one of the latest ships. And the first 25 women who book get get assigned masterminds, specific masterminds with their speakers. So you could be one of 5 to work with Shannon. Hell yeah. Yes. Be one of 5 to work with Shannon. And all women, all booked rooms, every single one, there's 100 seats, will be entered to win $200 cash giveaway. So, I mean, that's a win, right? I love money. And so please check out Identity Live. Connect with Shannon at Writing Whisperer. I think that's pretty much across the board for you. Yeah. That's her handle. Or look, M. Shannon Hernandez. We are Identity Magazine and Identity Mag pretty much across the board. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. And I look forward to hearing more about your visions.
Yes. Share with us. Tweet us your visions. Connect with us on Facebook. Susan Vernicek, M. Shannon Hernandez, and we'll chat then. But thank you so much for joining. Thank you for sharing. Coach Jenny, you rock. Let's connect. I can't wait to be on your blab. And have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.